In this video, we're going to edit some photos based on a few different color harmonies. Before we get into it, I want to confess. I have been relying way too much on Fujifilm film simulations and presets for the colors in my photos. I think those things are great shortcuts to use when you already have a deep understanding of colors. Personally, I want to understand color well enough to be able to edit myself and customize my photos further and just have a more educated opinion on colors. With all that being said, let's get to our first photo and edit it. The first tool that we're going to use is Adobe Color. It's a free online tool that has a color wheel and a drop down of different color harmonies. The second tool obviously is a photo editor. I'm using Photomator, but you can use any editor that you like, as long as they have HSL sliders for each color. In this photo, we can see that red is very prominent, and we can also see that in the color bar charts. So red is definitely one of the colors to use. And I also like the green here. It underlines the subjects, and it's also red next to the red. So even though it's not a prominence color according to the charts, I think it's prominence by location and composition. If you refer back to the color wheel, red and green are opposite colors and therefore complementary. Other popular ones are orange and cyan, and yellow and blue. But yeah, for this photo, let's stick with red and green. Okay, so what does it mean to use red and green? It means we want to compress the colors to either red or green. And to do that, we're gonna use the HSL tool. For red, we're not gonna change the hue. We're gonna increase the saturation a bit to make it more intense and raise the brightness to make it pop more. For orange, we want to drag the hue towards the red, and this is where the compression happens. For the saturation, let's see what happens if you change it to the extremes. From there, you can sort of gauge where you want it to be. And let's just increase the brightness a bit. For the yellow, you can drag it all the way to the red, or perhaps drag it to the green side. Since green is right next to yellow, let's change it to green instead. And let's also make it more intense. For green, keep the hue as it is, but let's make it really intense since it's a bit muted in the photo, and also increase the brightness. For cyan and blue, you can see the color in the windows and also in the subject's jeans. Since it's a color that's adjacent to green, we want to make it green. Let's decrease the saturation and the brightness to make it more dull. And it's similar with blue. Let's drag the hue to green, decrease the saturation, and decrease the brightness to make it more dull. And now you can see that the blues are very muted, especially compared to the green. There's not much violet or magenta, so we can leave them as they are. And that's the photo. If we toggle the selective color tool on and off, we can see the difference. I think the green needs a bit more love, so let's increase the saturation and reduce the brightness to make it less washed out. And let's check the difference again. Yep, I think we have our final photo. And side by side, the changes are pretty subtle, which I think is the kind of editing that I like, at least for now. In this photo, we have a lot of negative space in the beige here, and in the middle, we have this window with a bit more colors. To figure out which colors to use, let's use the saturation tool. Let's make it 100%, and we can see the yellow is very prominent, which matches the color chart, making it a mountain shape. A mountain shape like that makes me think of analogous colors, where you pick one color, and the other colors in the harmony are adjacent to the main color. In this case, we have a range of yellow towards orangey red. Okay, let's compress the colors towards this mountain shape here. And let's start with the red. So we want to make the red more yellow, or I guess just a bit more orange. And let's just decrease the saturation and brightness to make it more muted and dull. For orange, let's drag the hue towards the yellow, increase the saturation a bit, and let's see what the brightness affects. So it mainly affects that center part in the photo, so I'll leave it about there. For yellow, let's keep the hue as it is and crank up the saturation to make it more lively. and also increase the brightness to make it lighter. For green, we want to drag it to yellow. For cyan, we want to also drag it towards yellow. Same with the blue, but there's not much blue, violet or magenta anyway. And there you go. We compress the colors towards the yellow in the mountainous area, which are analogous colors. In the side by side, you can see that the edited colors are more lively and warm. I think the initial photo has its merits as well. I actually quite like the muted negative space with the more bright part in the middle. But overall, I like the edits. It's quite subtle, it's not too much, it still looks natural, and making the colors harmonious does make the photo more pleasing. Okay, here's some quick fire photos with the edits and the color harmony. Alright, those are some edits that I made with different color harmonies. Remember, the way that I edited each photo is just one way to edit. You might edit them in a completely different way. Hopefully though, by showing you my process, it can help you improve your own. If you enjoy learning by looking at my process, watch this video where I share my thoughts and process on cropping. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you there.